The Astrolux K1 is a new keychain style light with 3 different LED options, as you can see here on the front. You've got UV, main white, which is a Cree XP-G3 LED in cool white, and then you have a red LED too. This light's actually made by Matminco, and they label it as a CSF02, and it's rebranded for Banggood as the Astrolux K1. As far as I can tell, it's the exact same between the two, even down to the box, except for the Astrolux name. Thanks to Banggood for sending this light out to me to take a look at. Size and build wise, this is nearly identical to the Nikkor TIP that I reviewed several months ago, and I'll have a description below here to that review, in case you haven't seen it. The only real difference is in the head and the tail. So you can see here in the tail, they do their key rings a little bit differently, although fairly similarly. The Astrolux's is loose, the Nikkor's is solid, and at the front side, you've got the lenses. The Nikkor sticks out a little bit more from the body of the light, and the Astrolux's is pretty flat. I guess one other side difference here is the Astrolux has a USB flap to cover the recharging port, and the Nikkor's is open. Other than that, they're pretty similar in visual appearance, and I'll have some measurements here in a minute. The Astrolux has a metallized body, and I can't quite tell if it's 100% metal or just metallized plastic. When I bang it against my teeth, it does feel metallic. The K1 is held together with 8 T5 Torx screws, 4 on the front side, 4 on the back side. The buttons require a pretty firm press to activate, and they require a longer press as well, and they do make a little bit of noise. I've carried this in my pocket for the last 2 weeks and not had any issues with it turning on by mistake. I chose the rainbow finish here to have something a little bit different, and it's a glossy finish that is a fingerprint magnet, and I'm okay with that for this type of light. I don't have this on my keys, but in my pocket I didn't notice too many scratches. It does have some. I believe this is a painted on type finish, and it seems not to be true chameleon paint because you can see this is more blue here, and below is purple, and when you kind of rotate it, it doesn't change, it stays the color it is. It's available in other colors, blue, black, silver, and rainbow like I have, and it's IPX65 moisture and dust rated. So the thickness of this light when compared to the Nikkor TIP is 12.93 millimeters compared to 11.85. The K1 is 60.75 millimeters long versus 60.96 of the Nikkor. The width is 25.38 millimeters compared to 24.38. So again, very similar. So let's grab weights here quick. The Astrolux K1 is 1.39 ounces, and the Nikkor TIP CRI is 0.83. As I mentioned earlier, this version that I have here uses the Cree XP-G3 LED in cool white, about 6,000 to 7,000 Kelvin as its main emitter. It's not the best tint in my opinion and has a bit of an undesirable green-blue tint to it. Granted, this isn't going to be your main flashlight, so tint is maybe less important. Output is listed as 250 lumens, 210, 150, and 40 lumens. This light also uses a small UV LED, which I've got turned on here. And this is claimed to be 365 nanometers, and it's just not very bright. When I do my darker shots here, I will show what it looks like on a dollar bill. And it does work for that. But if you were to try to illuminate a bed in a hotel room or something like that, you'd have to get pretty close for this to really show up. The second color emitter, which you see lit up here, is the red LED, and this is quite a bit brighter than the UV. And I almost wish this light had, this red LED had 2 modes. It's almost a little bit too bright if you wanted to read a map and preserve your night vision. No lumen counts are given on either the UV or the red LED. I see Astrolux and Banggood are making a Nisha version of this light, and it's on pre-order. Personally, that would be the one I would want, due to me preferring the natural tint of neutral white, and it may be higher CRI. Heat really isn't an issue with this light. It barely gets warm to the touch. The battery is listed at 500 milliamp hours and is rechargeable via the built-in USB port here that is covered with a rubber seal, which is a nice touch. When recharging, the LED at the top turns red, and when it's completed charge, it turns green. I measured the recharging speed at 4.92 volts at 0.51 amps. Here's a runtime graph I made, and as you can see, it doesn't take very long for this light to decrease output from its maximum down to about 78% of its light output. This is where the light is most comfortable to run at for a long term, averaging about 65 minutes before dropping again to 5% of its output before the battery's exhaustion. That longer runtime I'd measure would be about the 150 to 210 lumen range, somewhere in there. I wanted to show you what the UV looks like. I've got UV turned on this light, and I've got a $20 bill to see the security strip in there. And I've got the light, I've got my video lights turned way down here, and you can see that security strip is just starting to get lit up when I hold the light above it. So it's pretty dim. If I switch to the red LED here, you can kind of start to see the pattern on this. It's not quite as smooth, but it is quite a bit more light. So here is the white LED, and you can kind of see the beam pattern. And if I hold it up, it is quite a bit of flood to it. It does have a little bit warmer center, and surprisingly on turbo this light throws better than you'd expect. Here I've got the Astrolux K1. We're going to start with the UV in the red. So here is red mode. You can see it's on. Red's pretty dim. It's what you expect. I think it's a little bit too bright when reading the map, but out in front of you it's almost a little bit too dim. You can see it does have that kind of weird beam pattern. And here's UV. Again, it doesn't show up on the ground at all. It's pretty weak. Here is full power of the main mode. It comes on in default. If I pan up, you can see the tree here pretty well. If I pan to the side, it actually goes a surprising amount of distance here for how small the slide is. Bumping down is a small bump. Again, here's one more mode, and there's the last one. Pretty dim, but more than enough to walk around and see what you're doing. I believe this is about 40 lumens. I wanted to compare the Nikkor TIP CRI versus the Astrolux K1. So here's the Astrolux K1. You can see the color temperatures. It's a cool white. And here is the Nikkor CRI. You can see it's just a more natural color. I think you can see it better as I pan off into the green here. So here is the Nikkor high CRI, and here is the Astrolux K1. You can really tell the cooler temperature there, the warmer temperature of the Nikkor. The UI on this light isn't my favorite for a few reasons, but most of all is because it always starts on high with no memory. You long press to turn this on, and this activates turbo. You long press to shut off, and as you can see here, it's a decently long press to make any changes there. So once it's on, you short press and you move between the modes. But again, it goes from high to low. And the square button there is the main button, or at least what I think is the main button, because it's got the power symbol on it. However, this turns on the secondary modes, the red and the UV. The smaller triangle button is what operates your main modes. You cannot have two LEDs running at one time with this light either. Here is the packaging, and it's really simple. It's a red and yellow retail style box, and this light comes it's got a plastic little insert there, and it doesn't come with any extras. There's no accessories, there's no charging cable or instructions. The only instructions are on the box or on Banggood's website. On the back you've got the features, and then you've got a runtime chart. Conclusion. This is a direct competitor to the Nikkor TIP, but with some extra LEDs. I don't really use the red or the UV often enough in an EDC situation, so I'm mainly judging this light off its beam and tint, and in those areas the Nikkor TRI, especially the high CRI version that I have here, wins in my opinion. However, I like the physical design of the K1 a little bit better, especially with that cover for the USB port and what they're doing with the key ring loop. The UI on the Astrolux K1 isn't great in my opinion for an EDC situation because you almost always don't want all the lumens right away, especially with the delay that it takes to turn this light on. I think it'd be better for it to come on in low and let the user decide if they need more light to bump up. I don't like the longer presses that are needed to change most things on this light. And there's no instructions in the package. You've got to kind of read around the package or go on the website. My recommendation would be to order the Nisha version of this light if you'd like a small pocket chain key light with all 3 LED options. That'll improve the tint of the main LED. When priced right, I think this makes a decent competitor to the Nightcore TIP. Hopefully, they will revise the firmware so future versions won't start on high like this one does. Thanks for taking a look at this video. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel, as it really does help me to bring future videos like this to you.